Chapter 17 Summary. What can we discern from all the above? Here are some thoughts. When you see Joe Biden doing things no American president ever did or ever should do, and which does not serve the United States, remember his connection to China. He, Hunter, and supposedly the whole Biden family have made millions from the Chinese Communist Party. What do they have on him? Is it by gratitude because of the money that Biden is so soft on China? Is it because they have dirt on him and or Hunter which they threaten to disclose if they don't get what they want, and thus have our president in their elite capture trap? Without a full investigation, it's hard to narrow it down. But Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray will never do a real investigation. For some reason, they protect Joe Biden like they would their own mothers even when he is a serial violator of federal laws. They protect the man. They jealously, viciously, and openly protect the Democrat Party and don't put national security before these things. Just remember all you read above about what the Democrats have become. Remember what we said about the plan revealed in The Naked Communist, and how the Marxists have been working a plan for 100 years to turn America into a secular socialist nation. China's plan tactic includes embarrassing America to make us look weak and feckless so as to destroy America's image on the world stage. We used to seem invincible and were recognized as the undisputed leader of the free world. Millions of people in the world wanted to immigrate here. Now our enemies laugh at us and believe we are a nation in decline. If China wants to make us look bad, how better than to help put a senile old crook into the White House and tarnish the image of the presidency built over 200 years by George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, and others? How better to sway people to their cause than to indoctrinate our children with faux history and indecency to corrupt their morals? How better than to use Lenin's strategy? Give me the children for 4 years, and the seeds I plant will never be uprooted. Joe Biden has declared war on the American energy sector in the name of the fantasy they call climate change. However, China is busy building coal-fired plants to generate electricity. Why? So they can make more EV batteries. Why? Because they've got America out of the business of making much of anything, especially batteries, which California has already had to regulate because their grid is insufficient for powering charging stations, of which clueless Biden has proposed building 500,000 across the nation. He wouldn't live long enough to see that dream realized. But with China making batteries for EVs and Biden creating an energy-challenged America, China will have us begging for batteries to power our green energy planes, trains, and automobiles. Considering all the information contained herein, and an awareness of what's happening to America, are you able yet to connect some of these dots? Slipping away from the economy and into social issues. If the left can convince white children that it is a bad thing to be white, and convince children of color that white people are their enemy, if they can keep black citizens laser-focused on things that happened centuries ago and have nothing to do with today, if they can corrupt the image of the country in which patriotism, Christian values, and family can be distorted to the point that we are demoralized, per Yuri Bezmenov, Saul Alinsky, George Brockchism, confused and unable to think of a single reason to perpetuate America as is, if their psychological warfare can dethrone the country by making our institutions crumble and no longer work like a well-oiled machine, if they can import enough third world people to dilute our population with increasing numbers of poor, uneducated migrants to overload our systems, per Cloward and Piven, that made America the shining city on the hill and the envy of the world, if they can bankrupt us by using that same senile old fool to spend us into oblivion, then will they succeed in toppling America and our way of life, undermining our success, our strength, and invincibility? If so, then China won't have to fight us to take over the world's view of who's who in leadership. And if they get there by lying, cheating, stealing, deceiving, or any other devilish means, then the end is justified in the eyes of immoral, conniving, bribing, godless totalitarians who won't have to fire a shot. The successful general wins and then goes to war. Sun Tzu. By the way, if Obama managed to actualize his statement about being okay with finding a stand-in and conducting his third term, it would make sense. Because Biden is clearly not invested in much of anything but being a figurehead who spends more time on vacation than actually running the country. Obama, as we said above, a man with 3 names, no birth certificate, to prove he was constitutionally qualified to be president, was a closeted Muslim, was a man with a history of drug use, had communist mentors, and sworn testimony by a gay man indicated that Joan Rivers was right. In other words, it was recorded that Obama had homosexual contact with a man named Larry Sinclair. Obama was the one who started the practice of weaponizing the government, and he demonstrated that he didn't have much regard for the law. So it seems to be plausible that he is living out his third term through his puppet, Joe Biden. The last thing we need is a 4th term for Obama. When we say connect the dots, here's an example of what we the people need to do instead of listening to the propaganda of the broadcast media. Barack Obama wanted a 3rd term. He's an ambitious narcissist with homosexual tendencies and is a closeted Muslim. Biden is likely what Obama said he wanted when he described his 3rd term as being run by him through a stand-in. Otherwise, how can our chief executive spend 40% of his time on vacation? Is he so unimportant to the country and the world that somebody else makes the decisions while he stumbles and drags his chair around the beach at Rehoboth? Or does nobody need a decision to be made in the most demanding job in the world while he's slurping ice cream in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, or slurring his words and shaking his fist in an animated and theatrical speech trying to make people hate Donald Trump?